Those who backstab their own people alliances, then I'm sorry, we are a political party. We are going to take decisions which need to be taken. We are not here to do Ji Hazuri of Bharatiya Janata Party. While Bharatiya Janata Party can form an alliance with PDP in Kashmir, it will not be questioned. JJP in Haryana, it will not be questioned. Ajit Pawar, it will not be questioned. But Uddhav Thackeray decided to do this. Yes, we decided to do this. The country is fed up of hearing the Mann Ki Baat. The only strategy is that we get the government to understand that it has a responsibility towards the state of Manipur. It is not the opposition which wants to disrupt. It's not the opposition which does not want a discussion. It is the government who runs away from a discussion. We were hoping that they would understand that they have come with a reduced mandate. This idea of bulldozing hasn't gone down well with the people of this country. They tried to do that. They did not want to discuss the NEET paper leak.
Hello and welcome to HW News English. I am Shubham Chohan. 1 month since the Lok Sabha elections, we've already seen a plethora of issues play out. A special session of Parliament took place where the opposition went all guns blazing. Remember, the opposition India alliance is at 240 seats in the Lok Sabha, up from what they had last time. The BJP, meanwhile, at 240, does not have a majority of its own and is in power, relying on allies. So what is the strategy of the India Bloc going forward in Parliament? And then, how does the political picture in Maharashtra look like? A state that saw so much political turmoil since 2019. Alliances being broken, parties being split right down the middle. And as it gears up for assembly polls in a couple of months from now, who has the edge? We were in conversation with Rajya Sabha MP and Shiv Sena Uddhav Thackeray leader Priyanka Chaturvedi earlier today. Here's what she had to say.
Ms. Chaturvedi, thank you so much for taking out the time and speaking with me. Let's get straight into the questions. Now, before we look at the future, I want to just take a step back and look at what we have seen in the last 1 month. June 4th, results came out. The India Alliance about at 240, the NDA at 294. The Maha Aghadi in Maharashtra, 30 out of 48 seats. There was a special session of Parliament, which is where you could see the opposition really flexing its muscles, and there were issues like the NEET exam, which also took center stage. With the current numbers, what is the strategy of the opposition to corner the National Democratic Alliance, given the fact that the Bharatiya Janata Party does not have a majority of its own?
The only strategy is to speak for the people of this country, to do the Jan Ki Baat, because the country is fed up of hearing the Mann Ki Baat. The only strategy is that we get the government to understand that it has a responsibility towards the state of Manipur, to explain to the government that they have a responsibility to the students of this country. They have a responsibility to the youth of this country, to the women of this country, to the farmers of this country, to the poorest section of this country, which they seem to have forgotten by the sheer power that they enjoyed over the last decade. Even recently, there was a report in the Hindu which showed that how many jobs were lost and formal jobs were lost because of demonetization. So those are things that we have decided that we will prioritize people's issues first. And if that means cornering this government because this government refuses to acknowledge the problems and the challenges, then we will do so. Because the responsibility has been given to the people by the people of this country to us. And as a joint opposition, we will continue to hold them accountable for all the promises that they've made and all the challenges the country is facing.
Like you said, there were a host of issues, including Manipur. We just had leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, make a visit to Manipur. One thing that's been often said about the opposition in the past is when it came to having discussions in the parliament, the opposition just created ruckus and staged a walkout. How do you accept that argument that for a constructive debate to happen in both houses of parliament, in the Lok Sabha and in the Rajya Sabha, the ruckus needs to stop so that the parliament is more productive? You have more concrete discussions where the opposition can really take the government to task.
I find the usage of word ruckus unfortunate. I find the usage of word disruption unfortunate. It is not the opposition which wants to disrupt. It's not the opposition which does not want a discussion. It is the government who runs away from a discussion. The Parliamentary Affairs Minister does not belong to the opposition, belongs to the government. And it is his job to ensure that if the opposition has something to say, it is heard. For example, we follow the UK parliamentary model. Are you aware that opposition issues are also prioritized in the government? So some number of days are allocated to the issues that the opposition is bringing to the table in the parliament. and both sides discuss, dissent, argue, and then reach towards a conclusion. Let's not forget the Bharatiya Janata Party enjoyed near majority, Bharatiya Janata Party on its own, in the Lok Sabha. What stopped it from having a discussion and effectively countering any charges that were being made by the opposition? So the ruckus is something that the BJP and its allies wanted to do because they don't have answers. If they really want the parliament to function, it is not the opposition's responsibility. I don't know why it is always made to believe that, oh, it's the opposition which is creating the ruckus. It is a government which is refusing to be held accountable. And the voices that we are raising, which is titled as disruption, is the voices of the people of this country. Are you okay with us saying that, okay, let's not discuss Manipur? Okay, so the government is in majority. Let's not discuss the price rise. Let's not discuss the Adani corruption. Let's not discuss the joblessness. Let's not discuss the paper leak. So, I find that usage of word unfortunate because we would want the parliament to function. We would want to hold them accountable. But in this particular scenario, now that we have certain numbers, the government would be obligated to listen to the opposition simply because also BJP is not, it might be the single largest party, but does not have the majority on its own.
What does 240 mean for the India alliance in the Lok Sabha? Because for the last 10 years, the sheer numbers that the Bharatiya Janata Party, the NDA had, and what many also pointed out, the way opposition was being treated, members being suspended left, right, and center, parliament was really not functioning. Questions were raised on the chairman and the speaker themselves as to whether their conduct was fair or not. With 240, 294, as someone who the special session, what we saw a glimpse that this is going to be an acrimonious parliament where the opposition will be at seeking accountability from the government. So do you see a change in the way the government functioned before the results in the last few parliament sessions compared to what you saw, a glimpse of what you saw in the special session?
So the special session was actually a trailer to how the government will try to bulldoze its way through and how the opposition will push back. Because now the bulldozer doesn't work. This entire system of bulldozing opinions, bulldozing opposition, bulldozing voice of dissent, bulldozing homes, bulldozing everything, people have given their mandate to the opposition. And let's not forget, BJP on its own is also at 238 or 240, similar to what the India Alliance is, the numbers that India Alliance has. So it is something that the BJP will have to consciously understand that there are two political parties which were opposed to it earlier. Whether it is Nitish Kumar ji's party or whether it is Chandrababu Naidu ji's party. Both these parties were opposed to Mr. Narendra Modi. And if they do anything which goes unconstitutionally, which goes undemocratically, they will raise their voice. They will raise their concerns. I'm pretty certain of it. Because ultimately, it is about India first. So as far as we are concerned, we were hoping that they would understand that they have come with a reduced mandate. This idea of bulldozing hasn't gone down well with the people of this country. They tried to do that. They did not want to discuss the NEET paper leak, which has impacted lakhs and lakhs of students, which has impacted the careers of these students. Lots of exams were cancelled post that. The Supreme Court is still hearing this issue. The intent would be that we have a healthy discussion, we have a healthy debate. You have enough and more numbers to defend your stances. If you have truth by your side, if you have honesty by your side, if you have the answers to the challenges that people are facing, then please come to the floor of the house and let's have a discussion. Hear us out. Now, even in the presidential motion of thanks, everybody got a chance to speak. But we were talking about there were so many issues that were raised by the president, but only if we could have a NEET specific discussion, that was again denied to us. So we've had a discussion. We are hoping that the government would try and understand its responsibilities here on.
A couple of more questions about Parliament before we move to the state of Maharashtra. Do you think the India Alliance should push to form the government? They are at 240. The two critical allies that the BJP has on their side is Mr. Naidu and Mr. Nitish Kumar of Bihar. Do you think the India Alliance will or should push for forming the government, or they've decided as an alliance that, look, we've got the mandate to sit in the opposition, while yes, the numbers are not quite the same as 2019, but we will sit in the opposition?
Actually, mandate is not for the government or for us in the opposition. The mandate was really a mandate which wanted a change in governance of the Bharatiya Janata Party and probably move them out of power. It hasn't worked because they've got two allies right now, which were pre-poll alliances. But we have seen as things unfold, because Andhra Pradesh also has a new government. TDP comes with its own demands from the central government. They have made a lot of commitments back home in the state, and for them to get that kind of financial package, etc., is something that will determine their choices. The second with Nitish Kumarji's history will tell you that his mood swings happen faster than seasons changing. So we are not going to push for anything. We are going to push for accountability, transparency, and if the other allies choose to step out of the Bharatiya Janata Party fold, we'd be happy to look at the numbers then, and probably look at forming a government then. But as of now, we'd want to see how things play out.
Right. I want to put out a number to you and sort of get your thoughts on this. 74 women have won the Lok Sabha election this time, a slight dip from 78 women MPs that were elected in 2019. The Shiv Sena UBT, your party, failed to get any women elected, and Rajya Sabha women MPs are under 10%. As a woman MP yourself, ma'am, what do you make of these figures?
No, it is disappointing. It is extremely disappointing to see that the numbers have fallen, especially because more women got tickets this time, as compared to what we have seen. And I would have really hoped the 33% reservation, which was a historic bill that was cleared by the Parliament and got absolute majority in the Rajya Sabha, except for two dissenting voices in the Lok Sabha. I think it would have been absolutely helpful for the women and more representation of women if it was implemented in this Lok Sabha elections itself. People would have been, political parties would have been forced to look at a 33% reservation. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened, and that is why you see lowering of numbers. 2029 is what has been promised to the women of this country. But as even though we are fewer in numbers, we are hoping to make an impactful presence as far as various issues are concerned. We are not going to just stick to certain issues which are said that they are meant for the women. We are going to be speaking on every issue, whether it is the economy, whether it is about science, whether it is about tech, whether it is about fintech, whether it is about data, data privacy, etc. So that is something, how effective you are and how you also ensure that you are addressing the gender intersectionality that comes with all the problems. I think we would be doing you justice to the women out there.
Right. Let's then come to the state of Maharashtra. In 2019, the undivided Shiv Sena won 18 out of 22 seats. In 2024, Shiv Sena UBT won 9 out of 21. This was the most among the MVA allies. Shiv Sena UBT contested the maximum number of seats, and they won 9 out of 21. Compared it with Mr. Shinde, he won 7 out of 15. Even in the seats where there was a direct Shiv Sena versus Shiv Sena battle, there's almost no clear winner. So, do you admit that the battle for quote unquote the real Shiv Sena is still out, given what we saw in the Lok Sabha elections?
Did you just say there's no clear winner? Did I hear you correctly? Are you still in doubt about which is the real Shiv Sena? Honestly? I mean, come on. You're comparing Shiv Sena to the 2019 results. Okay, so let's go with that. We fought on a bow and arrow. We got 18 seats, right? Who has the bow and arrow? Who has it been allocated to? If I may ask you that question.
Yes, well, Mr. Shinde has the bow and arrow symbol. He has the name.
So from 18 seats, they've come to 17 seats? 7 seats?
Yes.
Was there a flaming torch and Shiv Sena Uddhav Sahib Thackeray faction in 2019?
But there was a sympathy factor that one talked about.
Allow me to complete. No. Please don't distract me from what I'm asking. I'm asking very straightforward questions.
Absolutely, there was no Shiv Sena UBT. Yes.
Not to push a narrative which is incorrect. 2019, did we have a flaming torch symbol contesting? No.
The Shiv Sena was undivided. Yes.
We had a party split which saw 13 MPs go on to the other side of the divide, which is the Shinde faction. From that 2, they've come down to 7. So from 0 in 2019 to 9 MPs now, that in itself should shut everyone up. I'm sorry to say that. Second, we've just recently had 2 MLC elections in Maharashtra, won by Shiv Sena. Shiv Sena Uddhav Sahib Thackeray. We had a by-election after the split in Andheri East constituency. Who won that? Shiv Sena Uddhav Sahib Thackeray. Do you still have a doubt? Do you still doubt this? I'm not going by the narrative of what Shinde is pushing. The second question to you is, Bharatiya Janata Party, how many seats had they won in 2019 in an alliance with us?
They
Would you
swept
know?
the state along with the Shiv Sena, more than 20 seats.
No,
Absolutely.
how many seats did BJP win in
So
2019?
they won more than 20 seats. They were in alliance with the Shiv Sena. They won more than
They
20
won
seats.
21
Now they are down
seats.
to guess.
At what are they now?
They're in single digits, down in single digits.
9, right?
Yeah.
So who has seen a bigger loss? And who
Absolutely.
has tried to break the Shiv Sena and Shiv Sena Uddhav Sahib Thackre's party? And who has emerged a winner? That in itself should, not make you ask these questions to me. But second, another important point with regards to BJP saying that Narendra Modi was the factor that got Shiv Sena party to win 18 seats in 2019. In this election, we have effectively proved that it was not Mr. Modi's photos that made us win. It was their usage of Bala Sahib Thackerayji's photos that got them the seats that they got in 2019. And by trying to damage that regional party, by trying to damage Bala Sahib Thackeray's party, the people of Maharashtra have shown a Modi or no Modi. The vote goes against him. The vote goes against the brand Modi, which has created a ruckus in Maharashtra, which has created a khichdi in Maharashtra, which has done damage to the pride of Maharashtra, which has taken businesses away from Maharashtra. And let me also give you another very interesting figure: 18 rallies Prime Minister Modi did, 15 seats they lost. So that again should shut everyone up who comes up with this narrative. Oh look, the jury is still out there. The jury is not out there. We have proved effectively that we are the real Shiv Sena.
Okay, but then wouldn't you admit that in certain seats like, say, Thane or even Ratnagiri, Sindhudurg, which were held by the undivided Sena and the leaders who are with Mr. Uddhav Thackeray right now, in some pockets, say the best case of Sangli, where there was a whole tussle with the Congress party regarding who will contest from Sangli. Eventually, Vishal Patil
What's your
ended up winning
question?
that.
What's your question?
So my question is this: so do you think in some some key constituencies the Uddhav Thackeray faction did lose ground?
And in many constituencies, we gained ground. We did gain ground, right? And in this Vidhan Sabha elections, we'll emphatically also prove that what gaining ground really means. So having said that, listen, we were going into an election before any other election has taken place. No municipal corporation election has taken place. There was a confusion with regards to the symbol. I know of many educated voters from Mumbai who were confused with the symbol. So even in the short time that we have managed, we have done exceedingly well. So now, if you're talking about Sindhudurg and you're talking about Thane, yes, maybe we did face that setback, but that setback does not mean that we won't be able to regain the confidence of the people. A lot of it has gone because the confusion in the mind of the voters as to which symbol to vote for, who was with Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray, which was the symbol with Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray. So it's okay. We are going to learn our lessons. We are not like the other parties which are going to build a narrative which is absolutely incorrect and untrue.
Ms. Chaturvedi, let's look at what happened in Maharashtra post 2019, and I'm asking this as someone who stays in this state, as someone who's witnessed whatever has played out right from the 2019 election results, where you had the whole early morning swearing in, then you had Mr. Thackeray joining hands with the NCP and Congress forming the Maha Vikas Aghadi coming to power. Then Mr. Shinde going away with some MPs in 2022, MPs and MLAs, and then forming the government. What do you make of this mess in Maharashtra? What does it mean? Do you think people of Maharashtra have accepted what has panned out in the last 5 years? We're almost heading to another assembly election in a couple of months from now. Do you think people have really accepted what has happened across the board, across involving the major political parties in Maharashtra?
Okay, so let me answer that in 2 steps. First step, unbroken Shiv Sena, going along with the Congress and the NCP and forming the government. And the BJP trying its desperate best to bring in a person who was accused of 70,000 crore worth of corruption for an early morning swearing in, right? Then we went on to form our government, a new alliance in place and a new government in place and new partners in place. If you look at all the opinion polls on Sri Uddhav Thackeray's chief ministership and leadership, across the country, he was amongst the most popular chief ministers. That I insist is the stamp of approval that people gave to this alliance. And he continues to be the most popular face in the state of Maharashtra, beating even Narendra Modi or Devendra Fadnavis. That is Mr. Uddhav Thackeray for you. So the first stage was unbroken Shiv Sena going into a new alliance, which got the endorsement of the people of the country, especially the state, because he was amongst the top 5 popular chief ministers across board till the time he was in power. He resigns. He steps down after Bharatiya Janata Party, in its sheer desperation to come to power, splits the very party that has handheld them for past 25 years to be what they are in the state of Maharashtra. And it is a known fact, history's witness to Mr. Mahajan and Mr. Munde working together with Balasaheb Thackeray ji from zero presence to the presence that they boast of today. But by the sheer cunning and sheer lust for power made them break a party. They did their best. They undermined the constitution. They undermined the democracy. The Supreme Court has come down heavily. Forget my words. Supreme Court has come down heavily against their whatever moves that they were trying to do. People did not appreciate that. People also did not appreciate when Bharatiya Janata Party then broke away NCP and again brought the 70,000 crore man into their fold. He's got a clean sheet now. There's no ED, no CBI, no income tax going after him. And many such several netas who went along with Mr. Shinde or for that matter, Mr. Ajit Pawar. What did BJP gain out of this? BJP only gained notoriety and shamelessness, and that is why people have given them a slap on their face. And that is where it stands today. People will stand by those who were truly working for the cause of Maharashtra, vis-a-vis those who were lusting for power, and in their lust for power, were willing to do everything unethical to get back to power. My second question to you is, now that you asked me this and I've answered this, my second question to you is, Bharatiya Janata Party, by the virtue of a new alliance coming in place, they were made to sit in the opposition. Okay, single largest party, but in the opposition. I recall Pramod Mahajanji's famous parliamentary speech that we sit in the opposition, though we are in the single largest party. And yet Pramod Mahajanji and at that point in time Atal Bihari Vajpayee did no desperate moves to try and unseat those who were in power. They could have waited for 5 years. They would have allowed the government to work. Maybe people of the state would have sympathized with the BJP. But the true mask of BJP is now out in the faces of the people. That they will do anything in their lust for power. They will break parties. They will come to power. They will, the people they were making corruption charges against, whether it's Ashok Chavan, whether it is Ajit Pawar, they will bring them all in just to be in power. So that is where it stands. And that is where BJP stands today. And in the upcoming Vidhan Sabha election, by the sheer blessings of people, the sheer love of the people of the state, we are emphatically going to be coming back with a historic winning margin.
You spoke about people's mandate. If we look at the result post 2019, it was the time when the BJP and Shiv Sena fought together and in alliance got the number of seats. Many would also point out that, look, all said and done, it was Mr. Thackeray who began this whole mess of jumping, breaking alliances and then jumping. Of course, this happened again.
What we saw. Oh my God! I'm sorry. Please don't ask me questions. Please don't ask me questions which come via BJP's narrative. I have already answered that over the 5 years. If your question is going to be, BJP, Shiv Sena started, okay. So let me begin with giving you some history lessons. The pre-poll alliance that came into place with the Shiv Sena and BJP. If you remember, 2014, we didn't contest together. Do you remember?
Yes.
We didn't contest together. Shiv Sena did exceedingly well, even without the BJP. And it was the BJP which came to the Shiv Sena to come back and, form an alliance and, come to power. We did that. 2019, before the pre-poll alliance and the Lok Sabha discussions were happening, Amit Shah visited Matoshri, and Amit Shah was categorically told that if you're discussing Lok Sabha, let's also have the discussion on assembly. And for 5 years, we have been sitting without asking for a chief minister role, but we would want 2.5 years. Mr. Amit Shah, in his wisdom at that point in time, had agreed to it. But if those who backstab their own pre-poll alliances, then I'm sorry, we are a political party. We are going to take decisions which need to be taken. We are not here to do Ji Hazuri of Bharatiya Janata Party. While Bharatiya Janata Party can form an alliance with PDP in Kashmir, it will not be questioned. JJP in Haryana, it will not be questioned. Ajit Pawar, it will not be questioned. But Uddhav Sahib Thackeray decided to do this. Yes, we decided to do this. We decided to do this simply because it is the Bharatiya Janata Party which does not respect its alliance partners. It eats up its own alliance partners. They did this with Chirag Paswan. It's a shame that Chirag Paswan continues to be with them despite facing all the humiliation possible. They have done this with Shiromani Akali Dal. They have done this with AIADMK. They tried to do this with us. We thwarted that attempt. So they have split a party. We will struggle afresh, but we will win the mandate and love of the people. So don't ask me questions which are BJP narrative, and I have been answering for past 5 years. You can go back to all my earlier interviews, to know what really it was.
Yes, my job is to just ask questions, and I'll ask that. Do you think this, whatever we saw in the last 5 years, it marks a new low in Indian politics? As someone just, you look at the mess that has happened, two regional parties split right down the middle, alliances changing. Do you think this marks a fresh low when it comes to Indian politics?
You know what's a fresh low? The fresh low is when L.K. Advaniji warns us of an undeclared emergency and democratic tools are being used to undermine the very democracy that we've been enjoying. The fresh low is when Enforcement Directorate issues you a show cause notice, puts you behind bars, and if you choose to switch parties, ED gives you a clean sheet. Ravindra Vaikar is a case and example. You know what is a fresh low? Fresh low is when you backstab your 25-year-old alliance and try to break away their party. You know what is a fresh low? That even if you're a single largest party and you have, by the virtue of alliances, made to sit in the opposition, you refuse to be in the opposition, you're in your sheer lust for power, you will break down the constitutional norms, you will break down parliamentary structure, democratic structure, assembly structure, and come to power. You know what is a fresh low? When the Supreme Court tells you and directs you that please disqualify these MLAs who have gone against the party whip, floor leader, as well as the party leadership, the speaker chooses not to. You know what is a fresh low? When you form alliances only to eat up your alliance parties. So fresh laws are those which BJP has created. Do not just look at Maharashtra, look at the entire nation and what they've done to the nation. They have silenced voices. They have bulldozed homes. They have filled the country with hate and bitterness against each other. So those are fresh laws, and we are fighting those fresh laws. They could have very well chosen to sit in the opposition, but they chose to break parties. They chose to compromise on their very values that they seem to be talking about and tom-tomming about, which is on corruption. And giving clean sheet to a 70,000 crore corruption, giving a Rajya Sabha ticket to another scam accused, giving parliamentary tickets to those who are accused of serious corruption charges. So those are fresh laws. So we'll talk about laws when it comes to the entire scenario of what they have created. And that undermining the Supreme Court, undermining all the independent agencies, undermining the Election Commission of India to reach where we have. And yet people realizing this despite a narrative that we have been questioned over the 5 years and defeating that very narrative. That should in itself be the answer about fresh laws.
And my final question to you is, the Maharashtra Assembly elections are just a couple of months away. Will Uddhav Thackeray be the face? Of course, he's emerged as a leader in his own right, especially post-election results, and how he has navigated, especially after being the chief minister. Do you think Uddhav Thackeray will be the face of the Maha Vikas Aghadi? Because Sharad Pawar just said that, this is not about one individual. We'll fight as MVA. This is as for collective leadership. Do you think Uddhav Thackeray will be the chief ministerial face as Maharashtra goes to polls in a couple of months from now?
The opinion polls make him the most popular leader in Maharashtra. Above Mr. Narendra Modi, above Mr. Devendra Fadnavis, above anyone else you might want to name. He is our chief minister face. Whether we declare, we don't declare. The state of Maharashtra has stood in solidarity with Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray. Will continue to stand by him. He has canvassed across the length and breadth of the state, irrespective of whether it was a Shiv Sainik who was contesting the election or a Congress person contesting the election, or it was Sharad Pawarji's NCP. Sharad Pawarji is a very senior leader, and what he is saying is also correct in what comes across. But when we come down to deciding seats, structure, phase, etc., that is the decision which the seniors will take. But he is the popular chief minister face. and he continues to gain the popularity of the people of the state.
Right. On that note, ma'am, thank you so much for taking out the time and speaking with me. To our audience, thank you so much for watching, and do stay tuned to HW News English for more such conversations.
Stay ahead with our cutting edge news app. Instantly access the latest shorts in just 1 minute and breaking news in just 50 words. Download now for a smarter, faster news experience.